Live. Nice. All right. So, welcome to Core Connections. And our very special guests are Nicky, Taylor, Stewart, Grayson, Misty, Lynn, Cotton,
I only
and
have three names.
just three names. And I'm Martin Reed. And yeah, so we're just gonna hang out here, and these core conversations that we do on weekdays are just these very casual conversations where we touch on different topics and just connect with people, highlight what they do, what their background is, and I always use it kind of as like a way to just highlight different people in different industries so you get an understanding of who the man is behind the brand or who the woman is behind the brand. And some of the things that come out in those conversations are really deep, and I want to learn more about them. And then I hear someone else say something, and then that kind of aligns with it as well. So we figured, with my amazing wife's help, that this would be cool to do these core connections where we can just pull on a couple different people and just talk about things that have kind of been overarching conversations and topics and stuff. So we're going to do that in just the most casual ways. There's no real agenda. I have a few talking points because like Nicky said something, I'm like, say some more about that. Or Misty said something that, you know, playing banjo by moonlight naked or something. I'm like, okay.
Playing banjo
There was a
naked in
banjo.
the moonlight. I'm just saying.
There
Yes.
was a banjo.
Changing lives.
Changing lives one banjo at a time. So and that's what we do. So anyway, so that's basically it. And let's start by you guys just saying your names and your business and what you do, and then we'll just go where it goes from there.
I mean, I'm going to go second because I don't have as many names.
Yes.
I'm just feeling a little, less than.
Fine. I am Nicky, Taylor, Stewart, Grayson.
Hey. I go A because I know that new name is like a new addition.
It is. I am recently married, so that's where that fourth name is coming in. No, I'm not relinquishing my other names, people. What do I do? I'm the owner of One Body, which is now officially a virtual studio.
Okay.
I'm the owner of a lot of kids, most of them boys. And
yay for boys.
Yay for boys. And yeah, because they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you boys. Slapping that extra gross. No, I am diving into my more teachery self. I have mentors. No, I am a mentor. Yes, I am. That's scary. I have teachers that I mentor, and that's become a really not only just a really cool thing. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but it's also the way that it's manifesting right now is really, really cool. I'm really excited about the progress that they're making, as well as probably to the fact that they actually listen to me, which is weird. And
you are worthy of being listened to.
Wow.
No, I get that, but I'm not trying to EF Hutton myself. But I'm just aging myself by saying that. But no, I mean I'm really liking I just recently closed down my studio. If you were on social media, you saw me say good night for the last time. It was all empty and it was really weird. It was a little more bittersweet than I thought, but whatever. So that happened on August 29th. So I'm full on officially virtual. And yeah, that's what I do.
Amazing.
And I ride bikes now. I'm not a cyclist. I do not clip in. Yes, I'm afraid that I will fall and not be able to get out. So I ride bikes now, upwards of 60 miles a week.
Okay.
Making my way towards 80. But no, I'm not going to clip in, Martin. I'm just going to ride my bike.
Yes. Do you get a motorcycle yet, or is that still Carrie's thing?
No, that's Carrie's thing. I want the touring bike that will allow me to have a backrest and armrest.
And enough room for your butt cheeks.
And if I need to fall asleep, no, it's a thing. It's a thing. He's got a V-Rod Harley.
That's what
and
we have. The seat is this big.
Which Misty's butt fits on.
No, my butt does not. But
yes, it does.
Get to wherever we're going.
We're still in the intro at this time, people. We're in the intro.
My bum is bigger than that. Don't make me show you my cheeks.
Well, he had one that we'd put like a little butt bumper on. That's what it is. There we go. We put a little butt bumper on it. It was just enough to give me like blockage, because when you accelerate on a V-Rod, everything goes back. Yeah. And so he got into an accident with that one. That's an interesting story. I'll tell you later if you want to hear it, because he did like a really cool thing. And then he got the bike that he has now, and there's no butt bumper. And it's like, he's like, get close. And I'm like, but that's your seat. Like, your seat drops down. Like, this is it, dude. I'm a Black woman. I got a butt. Like, that's yours. That's it. So yes, we have a V-Rod. I can't believe you guys have a V-Rod.
We have. I mean, and it's
I love V-Rod.
Beautiful. I love it. I love
that
bike. But you know what? Unless it's a touring bike, I need my music. I need to feel like I'm in the Barca Lounger, or else it's not happening.
Yes.
Too funny.
I'm not gonna get sciatica because I'm riding a bike. No. P.S. It's over.
He's like, put your headphones on, and I'm like, what difference does it make? You're driving 100 miles an hour. I can't hear my music.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
No.
So, yeah.
Funny.
That is so interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And Misty.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I don't know her yet.
So I am Misty Lynn Cawthon. I own Dragonfly Pilates, and I'm just outside of Pittsburgh. We just shut one of my physical locations while we're figuring out my landlord dispute that I'm in the middle of. So that's currently happening. And sorry, my friend's just walking in. Hi, Patty. I'm on a call. Harrison's back there. So,
keeping it real. I have kids running through in the background, and life's happening. We're good.
Life is like Cheers. So it's like so, but so that's been interesting. We are a full virtual studio at the moment until COVID ends and we can be safe. I'm not risking my family or anybody else. So that's kind of where we are. I do not ride bikes, but I do like to hang from silks in my backyard. So I've been building out my aerial game since I have been on lockdown, and that's been a lot of fun too. Bye. See ya. Bye, guys. So so that's been cool, and
very cool.
Just trying to stay busy, hanging out with my friend Martin, hanging out with my friend Nicky. It's been great.
It has been really good, and I've loved just getting to know you guys better over the last few months. It's been a treat. Misty, I was watching our first core conversation, and it was so fun. Like, we were just like, there was such a banter.
Yeah,
like,
it was really light.
It was so light. It was like two buddies just cracking jokes the whole time about just being laid back, and you're teasing about being like a Jamaican laid back background and all these different things. It's like,
wait, Misty, you're Jamaican?
No,
my background is.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I haven't been to Jamaica yet.
She was pegging me. She was just saying I was too laid back, and maybe it's the Canadian in me.
I didn't say you were too laid back. I think I like the fact that because you're just, like I said, the Sultan of Smooth.
Yes.
That's your new name. Tell your wife.
Yes.
Going places.
Yes. Start make a T-shirt for it or something. So on a business point, first, Misty,
It should be a T-shirt. I mean, it should be your next, Martin Reed Sultan of Smooth.
Right. Yes. I'm a business card and everything. Yes. Yes.
That means you need a turban.
Right. Yes. Okay. So Misty, can
Sorry,
you talk
I
about
am
your?
losing you for a minute. You were a little bit irpy, so I didn't hear anything you just said.
Okay, it's all good. We're still on the salt and the smooth thing, so it's nothing relevant.
You asked for this, Martin.
I know.
You
I'm
asked for
ready.
this.
Water's ready. We're good. Can you talk about your new venture with your business coaching, Misty?
Yes, I'm so excited about it. It's it's something that I always wanted to do. I have always been kind of a mentor to people, even kind of as a kid. It's just kind of my bailiwick. So,
Mm-hmm.
even in teaching Pilates, I became a Pilates teacher trainer so that I could work to shape the next generation. It's just my thing. So, but when people come to me, I mean, and when I say people, like I could be at the grocery store, some rando comes over and starts talking to me. People, for some reason, want to hear what I have to say about just about anything. And so when it comes to business, I was noticing that I was hearing the same questions and seeing the same pitfalls happen to so many people.
Okay.
And I just thought, why not turn it into a venture and an adventure in helping people find their voice as part of their business. So a lot
Yes.
of people I know, they create these businesses and it's just kind of this thing. It's this
Mm-hmm.
external force that they go to and they do. But without the connection that we have to make nowadays, social media has made it so that everyone wants to feel like they know everyone.
Yes.
Without that connection, without bringing that to your business, you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. So that's what we're going to be doing, but we're going to do it from a place of looking deep within. So who are you going to bring to your business, and how does that work in terms of growing your business so that your business is not a separate entity? It is an extension of who you are.
Right. So then what about the person who wants to keep their life private? Like, some people just like, there's people who want to just have everything in social media and it's just business, 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 business. And they don't want you to know they have a spouse. They don't want to know where their house is, what city they live in, what their kids' schools, they're really trying to keep those two worlds separate. What do you say to that person? Yeah.
I say lots of luck. Because we're in an age, first of all, people can find out who you are like that. Nobody's visible anymore. So it's best to curate the conversation rather than have people digging up in your stuff. And also, I actually don't fault people for wanting to know more about the people that they're doing business with. The fact is, we are in a world now that's pretty gross. And so I know I myself don't want to spend money with anybody that doesn't represent things that I think are positives. So I'm not going to go spend my money at a mart, for example, because I think that those places, their business practices aren't something that I think deserves to be rewarded with my cash. And other people can do that, and that's fine for them, but it's not my jam. So I think you have to kind of look at where customers are nowadays, and customers are savvy in a lot of ways. They might not know exactly what you do, but they know that they want to do business with you when they read about you and you connect with them in some sort of way.
Yeah, for sure. We've been having these conversations with my business partner who runs High Octane, where I run my studio out of, around transitions. And this has kind of been our catchphrase around the office, where there's people who say they work in a big box gym and they're teaching Pilates a couple hours a week, and they're thinking, okay, one day I want to own a studio. But there's such a big chasm between working for someone else with a predictable paycheck and then taking on overhead and finding mats for your front door and finding a contractor for an alarm and like all these the niggly things that come with that, where you don't really think about it when you're thinking, I just need to make a paycheck, but I don't want to work for anybody anymore. So we're trying to craft something that bridges that gap. Then there's that transition phase, because we were talking yesterday, and Heikki from Finland, who was on Core Conversations, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And his background was like music therapy and stuff. He did it for 20 years and thought, okay, he was doing Pilates in a couple studios and decided he's going to do his own thing. Found the space, bought the space, boom, opened the studio. It's not that easy, right? Like you don't just go and find the space, buy it, not rent it, not lease it, buy the space and then open a Pilates studio. You chalk that up to 20 years of experience in other fields, wisdom with age, all different things that come into play to make him confident enough to take that step from working a couple hours in a couple different studios to owning your own space. So I've kind of been wrestling with this a little bit. I'd love to hear, both of you guys' feedback on it. Like, how can we close that learning gap for people so it doesn't take them 20 years to make that step?
Wow.
And that transition step, right?
I would throw the question back at you, what's wrong with it taking 20 years? We have to, we're always in such a hurry to do stuff. I can't tell you how many times people have gone through teacher training. They've done Mat 1 and Reformer 1, and they're like, I'm opening a studio. It's going to be fabulous, and I'm going to have a logo. We're going to get hats, and it's going to be fabulous.
Hats.
Well, I mean, and that's all. I mean, I love a good hat.
Yeah, gonna get me a banjo.
That's
and
right. Maybe a little tattoo that you can see only in the moonlight.
Right.
But the thing about it is you're jumping 19 steps to get to your hat. And you really, really need to be building a foundation. Those 20 years are where you should be thinking of finding a mentor. Not even just a teaching mentor, but a business or professional mentor that's going to help you navigate some of the dreck that comes about when you own a space and own a business.
Right. So if I was
in a hurry, and they should.
You go ahead, Nicky.
No, I was going to say, Misty worked with me for a little bit, like literally right before the pandemic.
Literally.
And, one of the things that really resonated with me that she said, I mean, first of all, Misty just challenged me to be me. And that was a very, that was a difficult place for me to be in. She was definitely the loudest person who said, why are you hiding? And she, whatever. And, she kept saying, your business is you. She's like, your business is your sheer ability to teach in the way that you teach. And I was like, yeah, okay. But back to the, and it was a very challenging place for me to be in. She literally stomped her foot and said, no, your business is you. She's like, in this particular instance. And so I started studying her because I was studying her because I was like, wow, she really has the ability to like size someone up, look at their business, look at where their business has come from, and be instrumental in guiding it forward. And whether it's to touch on what she's saying, a lot of Pilates. I'm going to speak from the perspective that the work that I do, which is predominantly Pilates. They're not interested in actually honing a craft. Learning Pilates is a craft. And I sort of always go back to dance, and I'm like, oh, so like if I took a year of dance, should I, because we know Dolly Dinkle, should I open a studio? And the answer is overwhelmingly no.
Right.
But yet in Pilates, in our field in fitness, let's just umbrella that, right? This is what happens, and it's become very microwaved. And so people walk into a space, and the reality of it is that if you have the money, if you have the marketing, if you have the hat, if you have the banjo, the reality of it is that do you have the talent to do what the actual product is, right?
Right. So
sorry. Go ahead. No, I was just going to say the mentoring aspect of it is we have been taught to leave a training and then that's done.
Right.
So I'll use medical school, which is probably an egregious example, maybe not. You don't leave medical school and just start, okay, I'm a doctor. No, you leave and then you go into a residency. you're a baby doctor and somebody has to watch over you and make sure that you're not, amputating the wrong limbs, and then you graduate and then you can specialize in something, right? Then you can say, I want to do surgical or I want to do cosmetic. Learning Pilates is a craft. It's a skill to be honed.
Right. No, yeah, I agree with that totally. But there's a sense of still having to surround, regardless of how many years you have, you're always going to have to staff to your weaknesses because no one is like the total package when they come to this.
Right. But do you even know that? Do you
That's
even
part of it.
know as a new baby business person, as a baby
what you don't know?
Do you know what you don't know? Do you know that you can't, if you're teaching 6 hours straight, also do your books, also do, XYZ? I mean, a lot of people that do it, but not a lot of people that do it well. And those people oftentimes don't have families at home, don't have other obligations. I think we have to be pragmatic about it, especially now where, our industry is being choked out kind of with what's going on right now. People think that it's the easy road to open your own business. I can't tell you how many times I've told people, don't do it. Don't do it. And it's not because I don't like them. And it's not because they don't like hats. It's because opening up your own business it's more than just a passion. It's
a baby.
It's a toddler. It's worse than a baby. Babies go to sleep. It's toddlers. Like I say, they are angry toddlers. They're trying to stick their fingers in the light socket. You've got to keep everything managed appropriately. And then on top of it, you still have to teach. And teaching is artistry, if you ask me. It's not this robotic stuff that, some people might do and get away with, but Pilates is different. And then you also have to have that human connection with your students and your clients. And there are so many things that go into it. Running the business is a job.
Yes.
The teaching is something else. And
that's the art.
You really balance it. You shouldn't be rushing off to do it. You should be taking your time.
Okay, so Nikki, give me a shopping list of mentors that I need in my world if I want to open my Pilates studio.
Well, hello, Nicky and Misty.
So what are the gaps?
I'm not going to give you names. And the reason that I'm not going to give you names because what I feel like I am in terms of a mentor in teaching and the technical aspect of my teaching, I feel like that's what Misty is on the business end. And the thing of it is that, so from the business end, you have to be willing to listen to someone like Misty. Misty's not warm and fuzzy. And it doesn't mean she's a hard ass, but I'm not warm and fuzzy. Misty's not warm and fuzzy, and what she says comes from a wealth of knowledge. So you have to be able to receive what she's saying. And the reason that I'm saying that is because that means you have to find the person who's going to work for you. Trent McIntyre was one of my mentors for quite some time. And then, of course, we know, most of us know that Deborah Lesson is now my current mentor. But the thing of it is that none of the people who mentored me from the physical aspect of what I do knew that they were mentoring me. I was a knowledge seeker. Right. So you have to know that you need a mentor. You have to be willing to humble yourself and to continue to grow and learn, but also be attentive to your shortcomings.
For sure. Oh, I totally agree with that. And I think that there's another component of it, which is not necessarily the name of a mentor, but there's so many different areas. Like what if you were to spend time on someone who's going to mentor you with business writing, or someone's going to mentor you on communication, or someone's going to mentor you on something that you think is so far away from Pilates, but is so essential to your everyday work?
I think
that's great.
The ability to highlight yourself. And I say that because that's one of the things that I learned profoundly from Misty, is that I really wasn't highlighting myself.
Okay.
I really wasn't honing in on what was making I am the crux of my business. I am the meat and potatoes of it. And she was looking at me like I was crazy. She's like, I don't understand why you're not maximizing this. She's like, people.
I learned that because I'm the same way. I don't really like to talk about myself. And one of my business mentors was like, "What? You are the business, Misty. You're the brand." And I'm like, no, I have this great team and I really like them. And, I've trained them and whatever, but I've also trained them to stand in their own space and be their own teachers. And she said, that's cute. She said, but nobody is coming in on their names. And I was like,
right.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to elevate them. And she said, I get it. You like mentoring people, and that's all well and good. She said, but that doesn't mean that you should minimize yourself. And I was like, okay. So even still, someone asks me, who are you? What do you do? I'm like, Misty, Dragonfly Blood, and then I'm done. And, so it's even for me, it's still something that I'm working on, but I can see it in somebody else. Nicky she is such a soulful teacher. Nicky teaches from the very tip of her hair all the way down to the tips of her toenails. And she lays it all on the floor every day, every time, every lesson.
Yes.
For a lot of people, that's what they need, but they don't have the maturity or the comfort to pursue that, because she's going to make you humble. You have no choice but to be humble, and it's not that she's like an old crone and she's trying to beat you with a stick with it. That's the best part about it. She's not the type of teacher that's going to just say, you know what, I'm fabulous. I've earned all this. I'm just going to sit back, and now you've got to find the way to inspire me to teach you.
Yes.
That's not Nicky. Nicky's like, well, you better be inspired because I'm teaching. You better be writing it down.
Yes. Sorry. Someone put something in the comments that said, so am I. And I can't see who it is that said the comment. So if you want to put your name there as well, so we can agree with you, agreeing with us, that'd be awesome.
We agree with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that Pilates, because the three of us teach Pilates, and I think it's very different, right? And when if you look at sort of the upper echelon of learning a craft, I'm going to say medical school, because it's something that I think that people kind of understand the sequencing to. Medical school, you have to be accepted to. It's not just you deciding, I'm a badass, I'm going to medical school, right? And then when you're right. And then when you get to medical school, like, nobody wants to see average doctor, right? We go to the doctor and we're looking on that wall and we're looking for magna cum laude, valedictorian. Ooh, okay. You're looking for other certifications. You're looking for all of that stuff, right? And then you go into specializing, and then you go into keeping up your credentials and getting redoing your boards whenever that comes up, right? But in our field, Johnny just walks in and says, hey, I got some money, I'm going to sign up. So that already establishes a bar, a very low bar. And so then why should someone think that they have it? If you go through the training and you get your certification or your certificate or your whatever we're going to call it these days of completion, and you go, yeah, I'm good, I did it. And we do what humans do. We align ourselves with what we see, and we assume that that is what we're doing. We've seen all those people dancing around on Instagram and doing all kind of stuff, and just in the moment, and we're like, yeah, that's good. But they don't have to be held to a standard. And so when you don't have to be held to a standard, you don't question your actual intent, your integrity, and your skill set, as well as your ability to continue to learn your craft. Is that me?
I don't know.
I'm one of crackling.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't feel like it's me, though.
Marcia Polis is in the comment section. Dropping by on the run, heard the part about I want to highlight my people because they are Yes, and I heard that Martin's finished on Friday, so am I, and so are all of you. Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah, so back to that so am I comment.
That's better, whatever you did, Misty. Nope.
I don't even know.
Do you have headphones in, Misty, or?
I don't, but I'm gonna try it because. Oh, look at that.
But I'm gonna keep talking while she's doing
Yes.
that. I think that the idea that people can, I think this is a bigger thing, right? I think this is like what's happening in the 2000s in general, where everyone can just choose to be and do what they want to do.
Yes.
And they don't have to hold, they can just say, I want to do this thing because it looks cool and I can wear, Lulu or Athleta all day.
Right.
But they don't stop to think that there's a level of accountability that comes with that.
Right.
And, that's what happens when you can run off and do a weekend workshop. So then you're not left in a position to have to question or second guess your authenticity to the work that you're putting out there.
Right. True. And and that's a good segue to a comment that I want to talk about from from our conversation, Nicky, where you say, I am an exceptional teacher. Right. And the reason why I put that there, because I'm not challenging it, other than to say the cream rises to the top. So I can have a weekend course and dedicate myself to continuing education, mentoring others, and you good? Misty, can we hear you? Or can you hear us? She can't hear us.
No. Misty? No.
No. All right. While she figures that out, I'll finish my thought. Oh, there you are. Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us, Misty?
Can you hear us, Misty? She's signing out and coming back in.
Okay, cool.
Finish your
yeah, so my thought is that it isn't regulated. You're right. Like, so it's not like it's a college of teachers or a college of nurses where everything's regulated. You have to go through steps. Right. So we take the onus, and I say like the cream rises to the top. There will always be people who are, they have 6 million followers and they did some cheesy thing and they're doing their whole whatever. But then there's other people that also don't have a ton of education, but we respect their quest for knowledge, the way they approach it, and we recognize that they're actually really good people. It doesn't really matter what they have behind their name or who their lineage is. They're just exceptional teachers.
Sure.
Right. And absolutely. I think that we can sniff that out. I mean, I can sniff that out. I mean, I know who I want to learn from. I want to be the best. So I'm trying to follow people who I think are better than me. So if someone looks kind of like, no, I'm not going to be trying to get into their classes. Right.
Well, and that's, what is being taught, what is being presented. So especially in this virtual world that we live in now, what is being taught, what is being presented? Is it something fabulous because of the way that someone looks? Mm-hmm. Is the work being is the quality of the work being assessed and judged by someone's body type? Or is the quality of the work being assessed?
Well, even before we ask that question, I have the question before that as to who are you? What is your personal vision? Because if that instructor's vision aligns with my vision for helping X, Y, Z, that's why I'm going to chase after them. Not because they're charismatic, not because they're really good with it, or not because of the way they look. It's because they're doing something that I want to do.
Well, I do think that there is a charisma that is needed. And I only say that only because we're in this virtual world now, right? You do want some, you want a little bit of chutzpah. You want some oomph, when you've got to look at someone. And that's a very new thing, right? That is, I say that only because of where we are now and everyone is virtual. So you want some humor, you want some you know, you want a kid running around in the background doing a flyby. I mean, you want the things that keep it interesting, but at the end of the day, you want the technique. And I think that what I've always found so interesting. So I'm gonna say Trent, for example. Oh my God, that man has a quest for learning that is just undeniable. Like, he is constantly honing and learning and investigating and researching. That's attractive to me. I really dig that. Like, because to me, it's like the best students make the best teachers. Deborah, she's still learning. She's still questioning. She's still tweaking after all of these years. You know, she's just like, I don't like that. That used to work, and now, you know, and it's that simple for her. So that's what I look for in someone. I look for someone who, like you said, what am I looking for, and does that person embody that?
Right.
And at a higher level.
I think it's really attractive when you say you're an exceptional teacher, Nikki. In this world where people are so gun shy and have this sense of body dysmorphia, and they look at themselves in such a negative light, when someone can confidently declare their competencies in something, that's hot. I think that's straight up. This is something that is really attractive.
You know, but I worked really hard for it, and I had people say to me, I had a lot of people over like a good 10, 15 years say to me, wow. I mean, pretty much out the gate. But I also think that I'm doing what I was sort of hardwired to do.
Right. How long did you believe it is the question.
It took me a while. And I will say, you know, it took me a while, because I don't look like what the Pilates industry says a Pilates teacher should look like.
Well, Nikki, but how much of that is like dance abuse too?
Right.
I mean,
for sure.
Take it away, Misty.
We're so used to just being beaten down. It's you know, it's hard to even, when somebody compliments you, you're waiting for the floor to open up sometimes.
Yeah.
So I understand why it took you a while to come to it, but I'm happy that you're standing in it, because it's true. Yeah, I don't lay compliments out there easily, readily. I mean, everyone knows that about me, but Nikki is outstanding. And I don't just say that because I like her.
Yeah.
No, I wanted people to feel better. I was starting to get a lot of clients who were just in pain. And I really just worked diligently, you know, like, how can we get you out of pain? I wasn't trying to be like a guru, but I was just like, wow, you know, what if you're like 50 years old and you're going to live for another 50 years? Do you have to live it in pain? Right. And I just started, you know, I definitely made my clients hold themselves accountable. I'm like, we're on this journey together. I'm just driving the tour bus. You know, you have to do this with me. We have to do this together, because number one, it's not my body, you know? And so, and that's really what sparked it for me. And I just kept learning and digging and searching and just making the client a welcome part versus something being done to them.
Yes.
This was something that they were an active participant. And I know that shifted a lot for me, for my clients, them having to take ownership of being better in their bodies. And that, because then that was something that they could own. And then I got out there more. You guys know I'm almost 49, so my filter's real threadbare. I got out there and I started looking at people, and I was like, are we not supposed to curse, Martin?
You can curse.
What the fuck is that? And how come this person has like this super gorgeous, glamorous studio, and that's their product? And I was just getting incensed, because I was demoing with people, or people were coming to my class who had been teaching for longer than me and had their name in big, flashy, sparkly lights. And I'm like, what is that? And why are people drinking that Kool-Aid? And like, that Kool-Aid's gross. It's like that lime Kool-Aid that always is on the shelf. And I should, you guys don't let me say that again. That's a horrible reference.
What,
That's a horrible, drink the Kool-Aid. That's a horrible reference. Don't let me say that again. It's a horrible reference. You know what that reference is.
They drink the Hugga-Jugs. That's even worse.
No, Misty, it's a reference to Jim Jones. Oh.
Don't say it. You can say something else. There's something even worse than Kool-Aid.
It's still the same connotation. I just was wondering why people had these devout followers. And I was like, really? I was like, you can't see the difference between that and that? And then that's when I really started looking at the standard. And then I started seeking out other people. Misty is one of those people. Misty and I just, the universe was like, boom, go meet her. Go. Yeah. No. But again, just that clarity of movement, that clarity and that conscious thought of really putting out there a good and proper product that comes from here and is not a suit that I put on.
Yes.
I had to put my Pilates teacher suit on and then take that off.
But you know, it's at the same time you say that, like, and sure, Missy, you saw it too. Once Nicky started talking about her passion, it's just like this switch, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, sure. I mean,
I love that.
In it, you know, she's in it because she gets this like twinkle, and she starts looking off, and
starry-eyed,
come up, and then the hair.
Yes.
You can tell when she's just basking in it. And you know, isn't that what we want from our teachers, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I can't tell you how many Pilates studios I've walked into, and not even just Pilates, yoga, whatever it is, and the front's like this.
Right.
You know, and so unapproachable.
Yes.
So disconnected. Listen, I say it all the time. I'm the least dogmatic person in the world. If there's dogma, I'm going to go against it just for the sake of doing it. I'm just a contrarian.
Yes.
And, you know, to be in that position where
cheers to that.
you have something that I'm coming to you to get, and you're going to make me beg for that knowledge.
Right.
You know, I have to kiss your ring. Damn it, I'm not kissing anybody's ring. I don't even know where your hands have been. So, but at the same time, when I want to learn, when I want to grow, when I want to do and expand, nothing is going to stop me. And I'm always looking for a teacher who is in that same boat and who's not afraid to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that.
Yep.
But you know what, let's find that together. Let's explore.
Yes.
When I use the term adventure, it's an adventure for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And mentor. And that's one of the things I love about teaching Pilates is that because no two bodies are the same, each and every lesson is going to be different just by nature of working with humans.
Right. Yep. I want to jump on that because that actually is one of the topics I was going to bring up with you, Misty. But before I do that, I just want to give you guys an example of a compliment that I received in a space where I have no wounds whatsoever. Like we talked about, like you come from the dance background or come from this, whatever. I have, I've been personal training since 2001, 2002. And I taught somebody a Pilates class when I first got my cert. And then I hadn't seen them for a few years, and then taught them again when I finished doing my authentic, my classical Pilates cert, like my apprenticeship. And her response was, you used to teach me with the eye of a personal trainer, and now you teach me with the eye of a Pilates teacher.
Bravo.
Right. Now, I heard that once, and I was like, oh, like you feel good, right? It wasn't like I need someone to tell me that for 10 more years for me to believe that. I now teach with the eye of a Pilates teacher. I believe that. I believe that I am good at this and I have this eye, and now I'm going to try and make it better. But like, it was that point where I recognized, okay, I'm actually good at this. Let's get better from here. But you're not just a personal trainer coming to this Pilates world and just imposing, you know what I mean? Nice. So it was one of those things though, like, you know, you get compliments, and then there's times when you have to unlearn the things you've heard about yourself first before you receive it.
Right.
And there's times when you hear something and it just sinks right in because it's so fresh and it's so novel.
And it's also the space and time where you're ready to receive it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
It was time for you to take that in and process it. And that's why it hit you that way at that time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, all that self-doubt stuff plays into it. Even when we feel like we've got this, and you're walking around like the chicken hawk from Looney Tunes, you're puffed up. If that doubt is there, you're not able to take in the gifts that are coming.
Right. But this was coming from neutral though. It wasn't like there was no wound, there was no nothing. It was just like fertile soil.
I don't think
someone dashed a seed and it lands, right?
Well, the wound, wounds are deep, wounds are shallow, but you're still going to, I think as a teacher of movement, you would still question just on a base level, am I doing this correctly? Am I giving this person what they need to be better in their body, regardless of what, or you've done something that maybe was not so good. And there was one day you started personal training and there was some question about maybe not necessarily your ability to do it, but the quality of the work that you were doing. And so that,
have I earned this?
Yeah.
Maybe you got to that day where you were like, oh yeah, I have earned this. Check me out. And you was that boastful, but you know what I'm saying.
No, right, exactly. Well,
and you do have a bit of a wound because you made a very clear distinction between personal fitness and Pilates. So somewhere in you were discussing with yourself, am I teaching Pilates from a personal training perspective?
Right. Well, and yeah, exactly. And I was actually going to say just that, because it wasn't a wound as much as it was a challenge that when I was learning Pilates, I would have, say, 15,000 exercises in my head, but I only knew 7 to 10 Pilates exercises, right? So if someone came to me and said, my shoulder hurts, it's like, I could take you to 19 million places in the gym and show you how to fix it.
Right.
But when I only have these 3 pieces of equipment, apparatus in the Pilates studio, and I'm a new teacher, I feel really like my hands are tied behind my back because I have this whole toolbox that I'm not allowed to use.
Right.
And I have this brand new toolbox that has 6 tools in it.
So it's not a wound, but it's a doubt.
You
didn't feel like the toolbox was big enough.
I wasn't doubting. I was confident I didn't have any tools.
He's like, no, I was very clear about that.
I'm pretty clear. I had no tools whatsoever. I have a surprise for you, ladies. And that surprise is I have 2 more guests.
What?
Will they be bringing cake?
Right.
I don't know what they're bringing. But as we're just
free chocolate chip cookies.
So Cecile.
Hi.
And
hello.
And Caroline.
Hi, Caroline.
Blanky.
Germany's
Hi,
in the house. Pittsburgh.
How are you guys?
2 Pittsburghs.
That's right.
When does this ever
We're double
happen?
Pittsburgh. I know, Misty, I've never met you like in person.
I know, it's crazy because we're in the same orbit, but it's always like, sliding doors. Like one of us then as the other one leaves.
Crazy. And Caroline's in Germany. It's 1:00 in the morning for our friend.
God, trooper.
2:00 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you.
How amazing.
That's dedication.
Are you muted? I'm muted, Mike.
Oh yeah, I am muted. Sorry, I put in myself muted during the whole conversation. I'm watching you guys from the beginning. Anyway, hi.
Hi.
Besitos.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much for staying up for us.
Yes, seriously.
Where are your libations?
Excuse me?
Where are your libations?
Oh, Mimo, I'm a night person. I need like 4 hours sleep. In the night, I'm productive. Everybody's sleeping, quiet. My child is in bed, so I'm like working.
There you go.
Oh, nice to
So
meet you
ladies,
guys.
if you could just like say your name and your biz for those who are watching. So Cecile, you want to go first?
I'll go first. Hi, I'm Cecile Elias, and I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, well, outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And predominantly I teach Pilates, but I also do a little bit of personal training.
So I'm Carolini. I'm in Germany, and I'm the owner of Black Cat Pilates.
Thank you, ladies.
Nice to see you both, and surprised.
Surprise!
Surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, that Martin.
I have so much respect for all of you women. And last time I had two guys on, Noam and Joel. We just talked like high level, technical, like personal training, Pilates, and stuff. And all four of you have talked so amazingly about like building community and building your business and just training and meeting people at where they're at, basically. So, and we throw that phrase around a lot. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If I was to say like meet someone where they're at in their training, in their Pilates, what does that phrase mean to you? Feel free, whoever wants to go first.
Are we talking clients, or are we talking
clients?
like
Yeah, in clients. Yeah.
All right,
Anyone
I'll
wanna-
talk. So for me, you know, every individual comes into the space with certain, we can call it baggage, we can call it a persona. It's whatever it is. Maybe it's a wound, maybe it's a curiosity, and those may shift by the week, by the day, by the month, by the minute.
Yep.
To me, meeting a student or a client where they are is being where they are with them in that particular time frame. So even the most fastidious student might come in and say, you know what, I'm not up to be murdered today. I really just want to, you know, dive deep into something and explore it. And, you know, that's where I can be today. And it's my job to say, in my opinion anyway, yeah, that's it. You're not feeling the 100 today. You know, I know that this breaks all kinds of Pilates code, but you're not feeling it. We're not going to go there. Now we may get there eventually.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times where if we just meet at the beginning where they are, that we end up going and doing really great things. But we have to allow for that space to be what it is. And it's the client's space. It's not about me.
Yeah, I had an experience about 2 weeks ago. A new client sent me a message, asked me for a tryout, and normally when somebody contacts me, I'm like, okay, who are you? Where are you from? Or what are you doing? And what is your, what is your goal? And she was like, I'm really fat, and I had a child, and since 10 years I haven't done anything, and I feel really bad, and I feel, all those
all those like negative messages.
Exactly, especially for us as women coming out of a pregnancy and so on, and she going through a divorce. So I was like, okay, first things first, let's say whatever you have carrying on your body is part of who you are, is your history, is your is what makes you, so first thing is take out of your head that you're fat, that you're ugly, and that you're not valuable, and then we can work together. And she sent me a message back to say, you are really my trainer, because I have never heard somebody tell me that I'm beautiful or that I'm worth it. So when a client comes to me, that's the first approach I take to them is, okay, let me know a little bit who you are,
Yes.
What are you doing? What is your job? Or do you have family? How do you feel? From the door outside this, from the moment you enter the studio, leave everything there. That's your time, that's your hour. I'm here for you, and you're perfect the way how you are. So let's work from there, and then we can see. I think it's a little bit the same what Misty just said. It's like to meet the client where they are at, and to be able to go in this journey with them without keeping them with this mindset of I'm not good enough.
Yes.
That's the way how I approach most
Right. Yeah. Sorry, Cecilia, you're gonna say something?
Well, just to kind of piggyback off of both of, what both Caroline and Misty had to say, I can see a big difference. I started teaching very young, and the first few years of my teaching career, like knowing where someone is at, meeting someone where they were, I didn't have a handle on that. Like I didn't know, I couldn't maybe read that in someone, or didn't know when was I trying to teach with my agenda for this person versus teaching to what they need. Like, sure, they needed X, Y, and Z. They're here for PT or whatever, whatever the reason is that they're here. And like, that's my goal for them, is we're going to work on this. But then where are they in their personal space that day, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? It took me a while and like a few like rough experiences to learn that. And just hearing Missy talk in the beginning about new teachers going and opening their business, like that's a big part of it too. Like you can't cater to a clientele if you don't have the experience to be able to read the clientele and to be able to be like intuitive to their needs, to be able to understand that. So, here I am. I started teaching in 2004, and I was like 19 when I first started teaching. And so there's a big difference, like all the clients that I've had, I'm 35 now. I've had several years where I taught like 50 hours a week. So it was like a lot of like different personalities and different energies and different days for each different personality and different like life scenarios happening. Like that was all an education for me. And I think that now I'm a much more compassionate teacher, having had all of that experience. And I can't imagine like being a brand new teacher and not knowing anything about business and not knowing how to interact. Like it's a special relationship. It is very intimate what you have with your clients, especially the one-on-ones. It might be a little different when you come and teach a big group, but that's like that part, like that takes a special skill, and that was a development for me. And I find that I'm a much more compassionate and empathetic teacher than, year 1, year 2, maybe even year 5, it was a climb for me.
Well, I think that's it. Like, like it's one thing to say, like, meet them where they're at. It's another thing to know how to do that. And it's at one level, yes, knowing how to do that is saying, okay, well, let me just scrap my plan and start where the person is. But it's another thing to actually have the intuition to know, okay, is this a day where I scrap the plan, but just trick them and still get them where I want them to go? Or is this one of those days when I just let them talk because that's what they need? Or is this one of those days where I just crush them anyway, and then they're going to thank me because they needed someone to snap them out of their funk?
And that's something that's also in history, Pilates, studying my doing all my studies in Pilates and listen to people who has worked with him and some experts in the business and reading the books. That's one situation that Pilates had a client coming to the studio, which this person just started to talk to him, telling him she has a problem and so on. And he just sat and listened to her. I found this such an interesting story. And he listened to her for half an hour. After this, to say, okay, now we can train. It's like, your training is finished, you're done for today. Thanks so much for coming. And I have experienced that too, that I have a client who comes to me and they just need somebody to talk about, to talk something, to put something out. And I'm like, just talk. Don't worry, I have the hours for you, you talk. And after it's okay, your class is finished. Go home, you put everything out, go have a walk in nature, and that's it. And sometimes that's the challenge of the experiences. Yeah, that's the challenge of experience. What Misty, I know, must have more than most of us in the business, to have this experience of letting the people just be and give them the chance to put it out, and that's the training.
I think Chantel Lopez was on when she talked about the vagus nerve. And I think, as we get experience and intuition, we can recognize when someone needs more than like a 2-minute, how was your day conversation. They actually need like a 27-minute, how was your day conversation. Right.
Yeah.
So, but then she really talked in depth about just the parasympathetic nervous system and how that actually does allow your body to move and be free. And there's so many benefits to that. So it's interesting how we can just intuitively do that, but then there is a label for that. There is a technical term for that. There is very much, intentional, way of doing that. Right. So it's very cool.
I feel like, because I teach meeting someone where they are, because I had this period of time where I was really, really teaching a lot of rehab, and, new client come in and they're just in pain, and that's what they see, hear, smell, touch, taste, otherworldly. And so my question to them is, because oftentimes people resign themselves with the fact that they will be in pain. They've had a surgery, or they've been in PT for X number of years. And so they have this deep resignation, and they're just like, well, I just want to do what I can do. Yes. And so I was like, well, do you want to be in pain? And they say no. And then they kind of go, it's sort of like, no, actually I don't. And I said, okay, let's figure that out.
Yeah, together. Yes.
Because, of course, I don't have actually I do have some letters behind my name, but I don't have MDs and all of that stuff behind my name. And it doesn't occur to them that there is something, a lot of the, surgery is invasive. It is traumatic to the body, whether you're awake or not, right?
Right.
PT is myopic and at times invasive because it is done from such an external perspective. And, when the client comes to me and they're like, this hurts. And I'm like, I'm down there like by their feet, and they're standing in their legs, and they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah. But just we have to attach this to the rest of this. And so it not only disassociates them from this thing that they have tied a big fat red bow on and wear, it allows them to realize that this is attached to the other stuff down here.
Yes.
And, that moment where they experience something that is pain-free, because then you're also talking about that fight or flight, right? And people are anticipating that something. And the moment that they have that pain-free moment, it's like they've had a goblet from the fountain of youth, and, they can see clearly, and their rose-colored glasses have sprinkles and sparkles. And that was a big thing for me, was just meeting someone where they were at and just asking them, I really, you can't think about your body. You can't think about, if you want big biceps and a cute booty if you're in pain.
Right.
And so it was just, it was just, do you want to still be in pain?
Right. It's funny, Nikki, that reminds me of a story from this guy that I'm working with. And this happened just this week and last week as well, actually. When people have that moment where they are in pain and you kind of figure something out, and then there's usually like this lightness to them, or like their eyes well up because they're happy, or those sort of things. Like, this guy let out a roar.
Oh,
nice.
Primal scream. Yes.
It was that primal scream, like, like I am back, like type thing. And it's like this, awesome. I was like, I called my wife, was like, I think I made someone cry today. But like,
in the middle of the session, you're like, hold on, dude.
Yeah. Like as soon as you left, I was like, okay. But like you said, that primal roar thing, it was different than that normal like emotional letdown. It was like this, like, and I love that. I was just like, okay, let's go. Like now we're ready, right? So
it's very profound, and that it is because not only, of course, it makes us feel good to make people feel good, right? We get the warm and fuzzies from that. But how about someone being told, because I'm pretty sure we probably all have clients like this. How about someone just being told, well, you're going to be in pain. This is the best we can do. We've done all we can do.
Right.
And
I'm
so
sure we've all had someone that's got that diagnosis.
And then for someone to be like, the realization that they don't have to live that way.
Right.
That is huge to me.
It is.
I think conversely, allowing people to acknowledge their pain is another place where we're kind of screwy in this world that we're in, because you've got the people that are like, their pain is their badge of honor, but then you've got others who you can see, you don't even have to see it, you can feel that they're in pain, that their body is in distress.
Yes.
From the minute they walk in the door, it's like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. But they won't acknowledge it until essentially stars align and they are so sure that this space that we've created for them is a safe and happy space. Like we do so much more than just work out people. Allowing people to be, meeting people where they are is often allowing them to be free to have that primal scream or laugh or cry. I know people who have trained at places where they're not allowed to talk or they're not allowed to laugh. It's like the Pilates military. And, that's all well and good maybe for the trainers. But how stifling
what does that feel like
for the people that we're trying to draw things out?
That's the conversation Jessica and I had, and actually Cecile and I had it too, where we're talking about safe space and then move it into a brave space, right? It's one thing to have a safe space where people know it's safe, but then it's still up to them to feel the space is safe enough that they can be brave with their truth. They can be brave with their pain. They can be brave with it and say, this is where I'm at. It's almost like they're looking out and then they step out into the traffic, right? Like they got to look both ways first. So is it safe? Okay, now it's safe. You can be brave.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I have one more guest to come in. And
you look like you're having too much fun right now, Marty.
I'm having so much fun.
He's like, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Michelle. How are you?
Hi,
I'm in such great company. I'm sitting cross-legged on my couch looking cute.
You are. That hair is fabulous.
I'm trying, y'all. Okay, so what did I miss? Because first of all, before Martin goes into his spiel, because he already spilled, Carol, hi. Nikki, congratulations, PMA. I mean, Misty, come on, y'all. I just love all the love to be in the room with you women. What did I girl here?
Yes. So Michelle, you want to just say your business and what you do for those who are watching or will watch after while I take a sip of my rum?
Oh, see, I just got through drinking a margarita. I was waiting for it to calm down before I got on. So, keep it 100. I'm at my sister's house and she was like, have a margarita. I was like, I got to do a thing. Okay. So, hi, my name is Michelle Sims. I am the CEO and HBIC or HIBC. Yes, I said that. CEO, movement coach, Michelle Sims, Get to Work Fitness. You can tell I had a cocktail. And movement coach, Pilates instructor, classically trained, all that good stuff. I dance, I move people. I'm happy to be in this space with you guys today, and just the continuous learning that I've been surrounded by since I've been in this Pilates community. And I'm very honored to be in this space today. So thank you, Martin, for inviting me.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, I think I have such high esteem for all of you. So I figured let's get you all together. And Cecile, this is the thing I wanted to talk about, like right out of the gate with this. Building community, like we just said, that safe space is one thing. And you are so amazing at being a cheerleader for people in the community, right? And you do your spotlights, which is like for the global community, saying like, look at this person, you do all these different things. But then also like that sense of creating community with your clients and your safe spaces in the place that you're in. So Can you just talk about the ways that you do that and why you feel like building that community is so important?
So I'm speaking from a space from a woman of color. I'm not gonna say BIPOC. I know that is a thing, but I just call myself a woman of color. I'm a Black woman. I'm Afro Latina. So in my space, what brought me to fitness is essentially a need for myself because I wasn't moving in my body comfortably. And then as I started to branch out, I didn't see people who looked like me. I didn't hear people who spoke like me. So when I started, I'm in Los Angeles. So I'm Los Angeles based. And for many, many years, I've lived in South Los Angeles. I live in Koreatown right now, which is a little bit north of that. But in South Los Angeles, there are things like food deserts. There's movement deserts, if you will. Some big box gyms, but not a lot. And then you have a question of the quality of teachers and who's really committed to the people who come into those rooms to be taught. So for me, that has been my mission day one. I became a fitness instructor because my girlfriend Debbie, my sister from another mister, she was teaching yoga and boot camp and things like that. And she goes, "You really should be doing this." Now, I've taught dance. I am a dancer, professionally trained dancer, Afro, Latino, different modalities in the diaspora, Afro Brazilian, Afro Cuban, modern jazz, ballet, all that great stuff. And that I kind of felt like, well, that's what you expect me to do because I'm Black, right? So the other part was like, well, let's move. And I had to lose some weight. So my biggest thing was, if I'm going to lose some weight, I better move so I can do it, because otherwise I won't be motivated. And in doing that, my initial goal with my sis Debbie was to conquer Crenshaw. Now, I don't know if y'all heard of Crenshaw. Carol, you're in Germany. But like, I'm gonna teach up and down Crenshaw. I'm gonna let them see somebody who looks like them. And that has been my claim to fame. And it's interesting in this climate that we're in right now. People are like, "Oh, you're not a leader." Yes, I am a leader in my community because I've been showing it in my community for the last 9 years.
Yes.
Pilates is something that I added onto my repertoire. I was teaching dance, teaching fitness, but not teaching Pilates. So when I got a hold of Pilates and what it did for my body at that time, we're just moving in a way that was very familiar in the dancer sort of way, because some people, like, if you think about a Ramana trained person, which my instructors or my mentors were Ramana trained, thinking about Kathy Grant teaching people at the department store, the dancers for rehab, I said, okay, I don't want it to be dancey, but I want it to be accessible. So that also changed my trajectory, because I wanted people who looked like me, who maybe didn't fit the quote unquote dancer's body, to be able to have access to Pilates. And little did I know, I found a bunch of sisters who were in the different areas that I was in, especially like Kim Carruthers, teaching at LA Care in Inglewood, right down the street from where I am right now. She's been teaching Pilates there for 10 years, and she teaches, all these celebrity trainers and stuff with celebrity people. But I wanted people who are not celebrities to feel like, yes, I can connect to my powerhouse. And can you speak to me in a way that I understand? I can give you classical jargon. I can give you, the straight up and narrow. But after I passed my hours, I was like, okay, let me translate this. Let me code switch Pilates.
Yes. Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, there's always different people are doing this, and it's like, I'm teaching celebrities. There's all these high profile things, but I love that word, like, accessibility. Right. And
we've talked, I think all of us
inclusion.
have been on different roundtables when you talk about accessibility for health and wellness, and what self-care looks like to somebody who's Latina or Latino, mi gente, or if it's somebody Black. Like, we're trying to get access to basic care. Forget about self-care Sunday. I just want basic access to healthcare. And so now you're asking me to move in a different way. So I think for me to show up giving no cost classes or low cost classes, just to give people exposure to that, that is where, I know I paid a lot of money for my cert. Okay, I know we all did. But I think that for people to say that's not a white person thing, and this is no dig on people who are melanated differently, it's a movement thing. It's you being in your body. It's you connecting to your body, understanding how muscles connect, and not so much it's a them thing and not a us thing.
Yes. Yes, exactly. No, and sorry, Cecile, I was gonna say, like, when you're talking about like highlighting the other, instructors and those kind of things too. Can you just talk about that, like your spotlights that you do?
So I've been doing, I guess it was May 1st. I started doing small business shout outs every day from May 1st to the rest of spring. So, and it was always someone in usually the Pilates community, but there were a few other like fitness people. So I had some yoga studios, some personal training studios, things like that. I tried to throw in some other random businesses that had nothing to do with like studio life, but clearly my audience is Pilates and this is my audience. And those ones didn't do very well. And so I just stuck with, supporting the people in this community that we're all representing right now. And I did it every day until spring ended, and I called it Spring Shout Out, Spring Small Business Shout Out season. And once spring was over, so June 21st, summer happens. I was in a spot where like my schedule was maxed out, and I was going to try to go back to the studio part time. And so like that's very intensive to do that every day. The research that I was doing for that. And so now I moved it to just doing weekends. So Saturdays and Sundays right now, I continue to do my small business shout outs. But what I've really felt, what happened is I know, Misty, you've talked about having insomnia through this whole thing. And I've shared this too. And I think maybe Martin, you might have some of this, but this whole quarantine, just for no reason, like you wake up in the middle of the night, maybe it's the dog has to pee or I have to pee or whatever. And then I'm not going to go back to sleep. Like once I'm up because my mind starts racing. I start thinking like about things. Now, in my world, in my house, everything's groovy. Everything's fine. I have no reason to complain. I have a very blessed life. It's what's happening outside. It's the big world, not my, intimate world. It's the big world. And I just start thinking, and it's like, what can I do? I want to do something. And so that was one of the things that I thought about in the middle of the night to do, where I could put some positive energy out there and just kind of, like you said, be a cheerleader for my community and to try to keep this community surviving, because, it's everyone, friends are closing their studios. I'm seeing so many people selling off, like the Pilates marketplace on Facebook is just busting at the seams, like with equipment. And it's, it's great for people who are looking for used equipment, but it's just like heartbreaking for all these business owners. And I've been lucky that I'm an independent contractor. I don't have my own brick and mortar, and 3 times in my life I was this close and didn't really want it, and I'm really glad I didn't go that way.
Like, don't do it.
Right, because I love the teaching part, and I didn't want to do the rest of it. Like I knew that I just want to teach and give it all to the clients, and I don't want to deal with the rest. And I'm blessed that I stuck with that, because I don't have to worry about overhead right now, paying employees or worrying about employees or, worrying about anything like that. I was able to just day one pick up online and keep going. And I'm still teaching like 45 hours a week right now. So I'm lucky in that respect. But then I have friends that maybe they have the businesses and they have that to worry about. And then I have other friends that just were not comfortable with the whole Zoom thing, like teaching on Zoom, like a teacher friend that's like 63 years old. And, she barely uses Facebook. Like, how is she going to teach on Zoom? And she's an amazing teacher, but then she's got to file for unemployment because this is just not going to happen for her. And, so just like I wanted to keep, like, you see the business, this industry and what we're passionate about and what is like healing and helping so many people. You see it kind of like, I forget the word you said in the beginning, Misty, but it's not that it's being choked out. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's being choked out by the current situation. And, it's unfortunate. And so I just wanted to like, it's not anything huge that I'm doing. Like it takes time to do these posts, but it's just a gesture to like try to keep up like team spirit. Like we're going to get through this. And I just
cheerleader.
You know, like I wanted to do something like that. Like we can do it. We're going to make it no matter how long it takes. Hang in there and we will do Pilates. And everyone will do Pilates and they will do Pilates and they will do Pilates. Yeah, and it's to go, Joe, you know, and just like trying to keep the spirit alive. And what I've felt while doing this also, which has been really awesome, is you know, it's sad to me to see in some of these Pilates forums the argument between contemporary and classical. Like when that shows up, right? And you know, my first mat was Stott, and then I went to classical, and there were times in my career where I thought, you know, I was very maybe more like snobby about being classical, and I still, you know, I believe in the classical method, but I also see, you know, the point of view of the other people, and I see that that's valued, and there's room for everyone, and it's all good movement, and it's all safe, and we should all be sharing and supporting together. And part of what you know, so I'm not, even though I'm a classical teacher and I'm sitting on a Gratz armchair, like the shout outs that I've been doing were for everybody, you know, and I'm hoping that it also shows like some unity, and I'm seeing people commenting on it that are from both sides. Right. And, you know, I hope that there's like unity, like evolution in the unity in our community. And another thing that I'm seeing is ever since I started doing these, my following has gotten larger, and I'm not sure, you know, if it's because of COVID or because my following has gotten larger. I can't tell, but it seems like now, like, you know, my Pilates world was this big before doing all of this, and now my Pilates world is this big. It's global. And I did have friends from overseas that were doing Pilates, but now I have so many Facebook friends that, you know, and Instagram friends, like, that are from all over, you know, like Caroline. I just saw her core conversations with you, and we struck up, you know, a bond, and it's been great. And so like our worlds are like, the whole world is like, we all have access to each other, and that's been really cool.
It was very cool.
I guess that's all I have to say about that.
You know, we were saying about the contemporary versus classical dialogue. When I have other people on that are like in other areas of fitness, they're taking it beyond classical and contemporary and saying, like, you know, Pilates itself becomes a silo when it's just another movement modality. And, you know, you can be like Olympic lifting, or you could be functional movement trainer, you can be whatever it is. Why do we block it off like it's its own entity when it is movement? And you know, when people start to recognize it like that, a person who's a personal trainer, for example, can have someone in front of them be like, you know what, you probably benefit from Pilates before coming to see me to learn how to do those Olympic lifts. Right? Yeah, and so I'm sure you can speak that from, you're also in personal training. How many guys are personal trainers as well? Is it just, you know? Okay, Michelle too. Yeah,
Michelle.
Right. So we can be, okay, this TRX stuff is gonna be awesome for you, but if we do Pilates first, this TRX stuff is gonna make that much more sense to you.
So Michelle and Martin, do you guys do this? When I have my personal training clients, they don't know it, but they're doing Pilates. Like the way they learn a deadlift, the way they learn a deadlift is the way, like, is from a Pilates standpoint. And the way they do a plank is Pilates all the way. And they don't do sit-ups, they do roll-ups. And you know what I mean? It's just like the way they execute the simplest thing. Even like you get them running on the treadmill, and I'm assessing their gait, and it's from my Pilates knowledge and like, yes, exactly. Like the foot placement.
Yes.
This is important. And it's,
Yes.
you know, so I have my personal training education and my major is fitness and wellness. And it was all, you know, fitness, nothing about Pilates in there. But it's totally like my Pilates takes over when I'm in a personal training session and they don't know that they're doing Pilates, but they realize that like they're like the same benefits that happen in Pilates are happening in their workouts. And they're like, wow, that's Cecile. She's really, you know, she's got it. Like, she won't let you get away with anything. And like, you know, she's really specific and, you know, but they don't know that they're doing. They don't.
So,
she's really demanding.
So would you say that you're exceptional as a teacher, perhaps?
You know,
Martin,
no one likes.
stop it.
No one likes to toot their own horn.
You should
toot it, girl.
toot
Like,
it.
Like
That's exactly it. You do
like
need to toot it.
Like Nikki said earlier, I've put in the time. I've put in a lot of hours over the years.
Yes.
And I do a ton of training. Like I do a ton of continuing ed. It's like if, you know, someone recently posted on one of the forums, like if money wasn't an object, what would you do? And I'm one of the people that is like, I would just do more continuing ed. I would just go around the world. I would just do continuing ed all day long. Like, is there a way that I could get paid to do continuing ed? Because I would sign up for that. Like, that's me. And it seems like that's all of you. And so I do a lot. I know that I know what I'm talking about. I'll say that. Like, and I think that my passion, like knowing what you know and being confident in what you know and then being passionate about it, like that's going to make an exceptional trainer. Whether it's me or all of the people on this call or any other teacher, like if you have the knowledge and you're confident in that knowledge, you know, and you love it, there's no way you're not going to give a lousy session.
Exactly.
I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between, you know, what we do and some of the other fitness modalities. You know, I love the fact that we can blend them, but I also think that there's something special about what we do in that, one, it seems to attract people who have well, the ones that are successful anyway are the ones that really quest for knowledge and understanding. And, you know, the combination of humility with just the need to learn and do better, to therefore be better. You know, and it's not knocking anybody else. I think that there's something to be said about Pilates teachers. I do think that we in general in the fitness world, don't anybody come and send me messages, but I'm going to say it. I do think that in the fitness world, there are people that instruct, and then there are people that teach. And I feel like many people, at least everybody on this particular call, are teachers. And it's not necessarily the same in the personal training environment. The whole setup is different. It doesn't necessarily allow for that.
Yeah.
To your point, Misty,
yes,
jump in real quick just to kind of piggyback on what Misty was saying. I think that it definitely is because I was a personal trainer before I was a Pilates instructor. Then I had to get recertified because I let it go because I didn't think it meant anything. But I think when I started to see people looking at somebody's doing an assessment of their form or what their gait is or whatever, it wasn't the same. I'm like, I kind of knew where the points of the body were, where the kinetic change should be. But it wasn't until I really started looking at how the body was on the reformer or in the apparatus and really seeing those muscles and those points, insertion points connect. I'm like, that, and seeing like, okay, I can actually see that muscle engaging. Where if I'm a trainer I was a trainer at the big box gym, and they've got on all these clothes, baggy things. I don't see those things. But now as a Pilates instructor, I can see what's connecting through your baggy clothes. And that was not available to me before. So I know, and that's why I took the TRX after I started Pilates, because I wanted to specifically teach Pilates on the TRX straps because people didn't have access to the equipment. So to your point, yes, we can be a little bit snobby, Misty, and I think it's warranted because there is some in-depth knowledge that we have from seeing those bodies connect and seeing the mind-body connection when that happens in those people. So that doesn't necessarily happen in a gym setting. So yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Nikki, you say?
What is a big box gym?
Okay,
oh,
so
like
I work
we're
at
just choosing to
24
not
Fitness.
say.
I worked
We're
at
choosing to not
24
say like
like,
Equinox or
the
Lifetime or
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Equinox.
Here at
I was
Globo Gym.
Life.
Yeah,
I was like,
Logo
I don't.
Gym.
I was like, I don't
We're
know
better
this
than you, and
name.
we know it.
Yeah, like
But
they
it's
want you to
still-
teach Pilates in a vacuum. They don't want you to really teach Pilates kind of thing. Like it's all truncated. So yeah, it's just like
Okay.
they're looking at numbers, looking at ways to get people in and cap at that. And it's totally different depending on where you are. Because when I was at Equinox taking privates in the studios or duets, it's the same setup for making money as a personal trainer, but it's definitely different at a really big box gym as opposed to a small boutique gym.
Okay.
Yeah, because Carolyn, you work in like a few different like more boutique type Pilates studios.
Yeah, I work in
Yeah.
two boutique studios. Yeah, one is more of a physiotherapy. It's a physiotherapy and a Pilates studio. So we have osteopaths and physiotherapists in, which is actually great because I always have the access to them. If there's any subject that I need to clarify or anybody comes with some kind of issues, I'm like, okay, let's just check first. Oh, I have a pain here, but my doctor say I can train. So
Yes.
we're gonna go down in the other side because in Germany you have the medical industry is a little bit. I don't want to go so much in there because it's too politics. But
Yes.
anyway, the medical industry here has a different way of handle things. And so when a client comes and say, okay, I have a problem, I have a pain, but my doctor say I can do this and I can do that, I'm like, okay, let's check with my guys. So then I call my guys in and then I check with them what are the situations, the issues, and how far I can take them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, so Carolyn, you had from our conversation, we had like a long conversation about this one phrase. And Nikki and Misty, I wanted to have the same conversation with you in the room because you guys both own businesses and have had bricks and mortar spaces, right? So you are actually like a pillar in the community, like someone has to physically go to your building. Did you ever call it a Black owned business specifically? And the reason why I said that because like now Caroline calls her Black Cat Pilates, and we had a great conversation about the benefits and the I guess the deficits of calling it such, right? So, Nikki, would you like label it as a Black owned business, even though no question it is, but you know what I'm saying?
I didn't, which I didn't deny it, but I just called it my business.
Yes.
And you know, I was in two pretty high-end districts because I had a studio before One Body. I had the movement studio, and then I had kids and I ran out of hands. And then I came back in 2012 and had One Body. And it's in a really, really, I don't know how familiar any of you guys are with Chicago, but I'm in Lincoln Park, but I'm in a section that was renamed. There's a dichotomy to this because if you're familiar with Chicago, there was a very infamous project called Cabrini Green. And my studio, are you familiar, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so my studio literally was across the street from the high rises that were torn down 20 years ago. And that used to be a pretty it wasn't Lincoln Park, it was actually called Goose Island. There's an island in the middle of Chicago. And they just maybe like 4 or 5 years ago named it Lincoln Park. I always had my picture on my website. I always, you know, everyone always knew it was Nicky Chronopoulos or Nikki Taylor Stewart. But no, I didn't necessarily say, and when I opened, you know, stuff like Google and stuff like that, it wasn't as prevalent in terms of all of the or like Yelp. You know how you can go into Yelp
Yes.
and you can have all those badges and you can be like woman owned, black owned, like that. And we've talked about my lack of business prowess, Martin. So it was just to teach my clients. So no, I didn't. And more often than not, I did run into racial issues though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I for sure. All of my clients are white. I was in a very white neighborhood. All of my clients are white. Whole different topic. My black clients wouldn't stay, and I intentionally, you know, whether you like what I'm about to say or not, I intentionally did not open my studio in a black neighborhood in the city of Chicago because I needed to earn a living.
Right.
And it had nothing to do
That matters.
with whether or not black people in Chicago. There's a lot of very prominent black people in Chicago. They make good money. This is more historically of how we value certain things in terms of fitness and exercise and what we think we want to spend money on. And that is Cecile was like, what? She's like, what is this conversation? I don't get my hair and nails done. Yeah, so you can tell. And I will take a training in a minute. I will scrub 2 nickels threadbare and take a training and be like, okay, boo, we gonna have rice and beans tonight, but you'll be okay. Mama got a training.
Mama's got a training.
Yeah, I mean, and so I went to an area where that the idea of someone paying the rate for a Pilates session would not be questioned.
Yes.
Quite frankly. And that is how I made that choice.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. But it's just, I think it is like we were saying about the advertising as such. I mean, there's benefits to that too, but I'm just curious as to whether that's something that you, like, Misty, is that something you put out there? Or is like, this is a black owned business, like come to this black owned Pilates studio sort of thing?
So I understand why people do it. It's marketing. But I own a business, and I didn't think that you shouldn't come to me because I'm a black owned business. You should come to me because I'm the best.
Product speaks for itself.
That's it.
But then that's the argument both sides though, isn't it not?
Look at my website. You can see who I am. You can read about me. If you don't like the tint of my skin, then you can go anywhere else because there's not a lot of me here in Pittsburgh or anywhere. But, you know, if you're okay with that, then you come in. I think that the product speaks. I think the website shows. And I think that the conversation matters when you come in. Are we going to click? Is it going to be the right environment? And, you know, a few have sneaked past my radar, but generally speaking, I can feel it right away if the color thing is going to be a positive or a negative, and then I decide accordingly. But you know, people know what they're getting into when they walk in the door.
Yeah, right.
But one thing I have to say about it is, when I talked to Martin about it, he was asking why I call my business Black Cat, no? Black Cat Pilates. And there was 2 reasons. The first reason for me was first, the cat is because that was the only animal in the island of man that Pilates worked with or he learned from. And the second point was the black was a more of political statement. Of course, everybody talks about a black cat. Everybody sees the black cat as the bad luck, or, you know, some cultures is the good luck, whatever. But that's not my point. My point was that we are in a society which we have been living in a society that has been built into the stigma that everything that's black is bad. Everything that's black is wrong, or everything that's black is just darkness. Exactly. And there was a really shifting point for me when I became a mother, because I live in Germany, so it's a prominent white country. And I was like, okay, I need to find out how I'm going to pass to my child the same activist soul that I had from my parents, the same way I was raised in a black family with a black community. I have black mentors. I went through all the best moments of my life, and I always said, even my Pilates mentor was a black woman. So I thought, how can I put this out in a way that she understands, not only for Honolulu itself, for my child itself, but for the society to see as the black being a good name. And I think for
Mm,
us, the black people, like what Nicky just said, like where she chose to open her studio, I fully understand. I'm with you. But in the same time, we need to be able, because our people has been so brainwashed that they don't understand the values of certain things which white people give. Why white people go to do Pilates? Why they pay 100 euros, 150 euros here in Germany for an hour training? You know what I mean? Because they know the benefits of it. It's not only the fact of they have the possibility to pay, but if we can give people the understanding of how good that can be for you, then we can also try to bring our people in and see the black word as a positive. It's a discussion I have a lot with my best friend. Also, we talk about how we
yes.
call ourselves if you're a black person. And the same thing when I talk to Martin about talking about our history and say, "Oh, they slaves." No, we should stop calling our people slaves. We are not slaves. They were enslaved people.
Enslaved
Yeah.
So
people.
this is,
Right.
this is all part of the process. The same way
Right.
when I say call, if you put the name black in associations, good things, because what our children see on TV, what our children see outside is a black face. Is the killer is always the black. I mean, I'm not in America, I'm in Germany, but what we see in America, what we see in Brazil is not normal. It's the
Yes.
same thing, and this is what the people are taking. So for me, I'm using my platform also as a statement because I'm building a good reputation on my business. I do my work well. I do the
Yes.
best that I can. I always try to learn, and I'm a black owner, and I own a black cat Pilates business. So people
Yes.
gonna associate the word with the quality, with the condition, and with the skin color. This is all has to be a political statement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we as a black people, we will have to live for a very long time of our lives. It's still my child's generation and the generation after her gonna stay still live with the job to
Hmm.
tap in and to say like I'm black and I'm valuable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yes.
my point, not even to advertise for
Yeah.
black business. No, but
Right.
the word is there and you know that's a positive way to
Yes. And I think that's the point of that too, is that whatever side you're on with that, we're all trying to redeem the notion that we are black people running excellent businesses, and it's not a question of color, it's just excellent. So if you have a negative image of it, you'll be pleasantly surprised how good this is. Or if you have no advertising and they walk in, they're pleasantly surprised by how amazing it is anyways. Oh,
Mhm.
and it's black? If that's an issue
Mhm.
for you,
Mhm.
it's no longer issue because you're seeing the quality of service here.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can take this so many ways. We have,
Mhm.
one of the things is when I became a mother, or when I was pregnant, was my only child. I was thinking about, okay, how can I pass to her my education? Because I'm blessed to
Mm-hmm.
have had a great education as a
Yes.
black person, as a black child, a black woman. And you all know this experiment with the doll experiment.
Pavlov's dog.
Mm-hmm.
The doll experiment,
You
Yes.
talking
this
about
is a
are you
yeah,
speaking, Catalina, are you speaking about the kids identifying which was the good, you said doll, correct?
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, the doll
Oh,
The
experiment.
doll.
kids
Oh, sorry.
identifying.
Yes. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is one of the experiments that really should be like an eye open for every black person, every black family, everyone who raises a child need to see and to understand. My child, she does not own a Barbie. She got a Barbie from a friend when she was 2 years old. I was like, no, my child, she doesn't play with a Barbie. Give a toy, give a doll to her that looks like her. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So this is one of the points when I say I want to call my business a Black Cat Pilates. I want to be identified
Mm-hmm.
as a black-owned business because I
Yes.
want to show people the positive side of being black, of having the word black, and not only related black to what is negative.
Yes. I have a different question for you guys, changing gears here as we kind of close out here. Do you all have a best friend?
Yes.
Tight female
He's down here.
best friend.
Specifically
Aw.
female.
Doggy.
He's been
Specifically
sleeping there.
female.
Specifically female.
Specifically female. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, did
She's
you
like,
want the deets?
Are they
Category.
the
I didn't want-
banjo, Misty?
Yeah, I
With the
know.
banjo.
No, I just
Category.
this is
right.
like this is my I'm a guy. I have 5 women in the room. I have to ask a question here because we were talking. I think maybe it was Michelle and I were talking about cocooning and just like how you pull away to figure stuff out, but then you also have your core people, like those tight knit people that you can just go blah with. Doesn't matter how raw. You could just trust them. You know, like that ride or die type person. It's been my experience with my friends and people, you know, actually my wife has a really good best friend, but that's not always the case where like I've seen a lot of females don't have that really tight trust of another female. Why?
That's sad.
That sounds like a Maury Povich show.
Yes.
Well, that
I'll
would
say-
end with, you are not the father, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you know,
The DNA
Jerry
test is
Springer.
after, yeah.
Sorry, Misty.
Yes.
Jerry Springer.
I'll say I come from a really large family. So there are 5 of us, and the oldest and the youngest were adopted, and the 3 in the middle are biological. And from the time I was 5 to the time I was 10, we took in foster children, and that's how we adopted my older brother and my baby brother. And so we had, from the time I was 5 to the time I was 10, 50 different children live under our roof at different times for different amount of time. You know, for some was like overnight, like it was a respite where it was like a weekend or something like that. And some of them were like permanent foster homes, which was like a 6-month sort of thing. And so I come from like lots of people, lots of kids. My family, my husband calls them the loud eating Italian huggers. So, like that's what they do. And you know, like he's a little bit like reserved, and he gets like uncomfortable in crowds. So like a family dinner, even if it's just like 5 of us with my family, is overwhelming for him. And so since I have that, my family is so expansive, and I'm you know, my friend group outside my family is very small, and there's like people that I'm closer to in different like categories of my life. Like I have my Pilates best friend, I have my childhood best friend, and then you know I have like my very best friend is my little sister. We're 5 years apart, and we're just 2 peas in a pod. My dad used to call us, you know, all the time, and like we can go. I mean, we text every day, but we can go time without seeing each other. She lives in Richmond, I'm in Pennsylvania, and when we see each other, it's like no time has passed
Don't
at all.
skip a
And
beat.
like,
Yeah.
right, she knows everything about me. I know everything about. We tell each other everything, and then just like little stupid stuff. We tell each other. We know all the details. So she's my little sister is my ride or die, I think. But then I have those, you know, my Pilates best friend and my childhood best friend. You know, there's the categories. But I feel like since I've had such a big family, and the five of us, like I have 4 siblings, I've never made an effort to have a large friend group because I have built-in friends. Like I came with my own friends. So, but I have a lot of friends, but as far as like the really close ones, it's my family, I think.
So anyone want to examine that? Nicky, go.
No, I have a female best friend for sure. For 20 years. But the second time around with my second marriage, Carrie and I, Martin knows my husband.
Good dude, man.
We are really, really tapping into and exploring being each other's best friend. And just for not only just the strength of our partnership, But for the strength of our family, Misty knows a little bit about what my family is going through. But not just staying in those sort of stereotypical Carrie dad, Nicky mom roles, but really and truly being partners to each other, and really and truly holding space for each other in our relationship. And what I feel like that means is him being my closest friend.
I still have some very, very close friends, wingmen, women from childhood. I'm still very close with my college friends that we met literally on freshman orientation day.
Amazing.
I keep my close knit circle very, very tight. And that's because I give so much doing what I do that I don't have the bandwidth to dabble in superficialities. I really need the people that are in my world to be people that I don't have to explain who I am to, you know. And some of these people that I've known forever, literally since the 2nd and 3rd grade, they have seen every incarnation of Misty, and they don't hide when they see me in the grocery store. And I think that's really important. To me, that term friend is, it's so much. Like Nicky, and I say all the time, like I don't seek out to meet people and have them in my sphere. When I met Nicky, I was kind of like hiding behind Pilates equipment at PMA. I just wasn't really in the mood to be out there. I'm an extroverted introvert to the core. But like we said, like we met and we were not supposed to not be friends. That's kind of the way my friendships are. It's kind of like, my spidey senses say, if you run, like the anvil's going to fall on you and you're not going to get away. So you might as well just explore it. And, thankfully it's worked out. I've had some duds, but generally speaking, it's because I didn't run away with it.
Yeah, shout out to the duds. No
Bye, Felicia.
Yes. Okay, I want to close this out real quick, but I do have a couple would you rather questions for you.
Okay. All right.
Just like the nervous.
Are these PG? Okay.
They are, of course, they're PG. They're PG.
Just asking.
All right.
I mean, it's getting late.
Right, I know. That was the after-hours show with when I had Brenda on here. That was fun. Okay, so Nicky.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm gonna ask this question, and then let's try Misty. Since you guys are so tight. Here's the question, Nicky. Misty, I want you to guess what Nicky's answer would be.
Ooh, Lord.
Okay, so Nicky, here's your question. Misty, you got to answer it. Would Nicky rather lose her ability to read or lose her ability to speak?
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to say she would rather lose her ability to speak.
Is that correct?
Oh my gosh, I'm a Libra. I couldn't decide. I literally couldn't decide.
Come on, girl. You like to learn and you like to process them on your own time and in your own way. So
I do.
Processing is just different, and there's tone and all of that. So when you think about it, like boil it down, you really want to be able to read it and digest on your own.
So then does that mean I get to pantomime? Well, I could actually pantomime to teach. I was thinking of how would I teach?
You just sign your way through it or something. Misty, this question is for you. So, Michelle, I want you to guess what you think Misty would answer, how she would answer this question. I love it because you guys are like, I don't know. So, here's your question. Would Misty rather know the history of every object you touched or be able to talk to animals?
I know that she loves her dog. I've met Missy in real life. And she has these beautiful exotic dogs. I think she would want to communicate with her beautiful dogs, her beautiful animals.
They're cats, but yeah.
I'm sorry, cats. See, look at me. They're like Bengals. What are they?
Bengals. Yes.
Bengals. See, I knew
Oh,
it
they're Bengals?
was a dog.
Yes.
My bad.
I
remembered something. I had a margarita. Okay.
There you go.
No, you're right.
I think it was that margarita. Is like a margarita like this, or like
it was like that.
A bowl.
Yes, it was a cat. Because I remember seeing the pictures on your phone.
Yes.
My bad. It was.
That's a good memory, though, for
Yes.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you are correct. I mean, I like histories of objects, but I mean, to talk to animals, are you kidding? Could you imagine? Hands down.
All right, so Michelle, this is your question. Caroline, you have to guess how she would answer this.
Wow.
Michelle, this is your question. So, Caroline, would Michelle rather every shirt that she wear be kind of itchy or be able to only use one-ply toilet paper?
One more time. Because I have to guess by what I'm seeing right now. You know what I mean? So
I'm
Yes.
trying not to show you my face.
I know what I say.
Would she rather every shirt she wear be kind of itchy or be only able to use one-ply toilet paper?
oh my God, what a question.
Which would you prefer?
This is
I think the toilet paper.
You are correct.
Hey.
It's not your one ply. I need both of them. Clean it all up.
Overshare. Next question.
TMI. Sorry, going away.
Okay, so Cecile, this is Caroline's question. So, would Caroline rather find true love or a suitcase with $5 million inside?
I think she would rather find true love.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
That 5 mil. I'll be happy with friends.
I was gonna say, don't ask me that question.
You could buy some love with $5 million.
Oh,
And
no.
temporary love until the money runs out.
My wife was just like, but I have true love. Can I still take the 5 million? Nah. Okay, so Nicky, you're gonna answer this question for Cecile. This is Cecile's question. Would Cecile rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room?
I think she wants to be the funniest.
I don't know. Like,
You guys.
Are you a Libra?
no, I'm a Cancer, but I think I had to think backwards. Like at first I thought funny, but then it was like, no, because I'm not that funny. So like I would be more successful being smarter than people than being funny. You know, like I couldn't do stand up. So I don't know.
But you
I
like
tied
more
it
depth,
in.
don't you?
I tied it in with middle child, large family.
Okay. Well,
Wow,
I'm
you're
technically
digging deep.
it's a little weirder than middle child. So I was the oldest till I was 9, and then we adopted my older brother who was 11. And so to this day, though, I think he's still, when I talk to him on the phone, it's like I'm the big sister. I don't know how I commanded
Aw.
that, but I'm the big sister. It doesn't matter.
That's so awesome.
So
Aw.
even though I'm in the middle, I still have like the oldest child syndrome, I think.
Traits. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
Okay.
that's where I'd rather be smarter than everybody.
That is
I don't
okay.
know.
So from that perspective, see that little nook, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so for you two indecisive souls, I have one more question for you then. So let's go back to Nikki and Cecile. I want you to see if you can answer this for her.
Okay.
Would Nikki rather be feared by all or loved by all?
I think I want to say I've been tuning into the thought flows, and like there's a little bit of both in there. But I think can I say loved by the people that matter? And I don't think she wants to be feared by all. Okay, then I'll just say loved by all, and that can be all that matter. That's what I think. Does that count?
Yes, I would want to be loved.
Loved
Okay.
by all. Nice. Well, you guys are all loved by me. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being in
This
this
was
wonderful
fun.
group.
Super
Can
fun.
I just say, Martin, I was so honored to be when you told me who else was coming on. I'm 35 and I've never been at I've never been at the adult table at my family for a holiday. And so this was like, I'm finally sitting at the grown-ups table. That's what it felt like to me. So because I have such respect for all of you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is so
beautiful.
sweet.
And apparently they serve drinks at the grown-up table. They just didn't tell all the grown-ups.
Yes.
One of the grown-ups was hoarding them for herself.
Yeah. All right. I know Nikki has to jump off. So
Thank you.
yes. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I really didn't know how long this was gonna run. I just wanted to just run it till we ran out of questions. So
Yeah.
Thank
that
you,
was
Martin.
so
Thanks,
cool.
you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Sign you guys off.